Great.
So that you can get started presenting.
All righty.
Okay, so I'm making you the host. Thanks for your patience, everyone. We had a few back-to-back sessions because people changed up their times on us. So, all right. I think you are good to go. I'll go do some link dropping for the contests and for the Slack channel.
Awesome. All right, we are recording. Okay, hi everyone, I'm Seth. If you've watched any of our tutorial videos, you might recognize my voice, or if you've ever sent anything in our support, then I've probably talked with you. So today we're going to be talking about how to quickly launch a newsletter. I'm going to be going through some general tips on how to quickly launch a newsletter, and then we're going to dive into the Curated tool and do specifics on how to set up and launch a newsletter. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the Q&A as we're going throughout, and actually just feel free to interrupt me on anything that is relevant to what we're going through. So I'm going to share my screen and then we'll get started. Okay, great. So right now I am on a brand new Curated account.
No, you are on your Newsletter Fest things to say.
Oh no.
Before.
That's not right.
But there's the link to the Slack community, people, that I just dropped into the chat, and my emojis that I copy pasted went away. So you now have to imagine in your mind the calendar for the rest of the events. Oh, I did not drop the Slack community link. I'll go find that. That's great that's the thing you accidentally pulled up. The trophy for the Curated contest to win a free year of Curated. And then the first place medal is for voting for your favorite newsletters.
Okay, are you seeing the right thing now? This should be the my.curated page.
It might be coming. It just says you've started screen sharing and we're seeing a black screen. So we'll get there.
Interesting.
Momentarily, I assume.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm grabbing the Slack community link.
All right.
This is what we get for running right up to the other end of time.
You got anything yet or still black?
No, I don't. It's still black.
Weird. Okay. Let me try something else then.
If there's anybody who can solve this, it's the guy who's teaching you right now.
Okay, let's try.
Hi, everybody in the chat. Let us know who you are, where you're from. Drop a link to your newsletter. We'd love to know who we have here. Wade Sellers recommends turning it off and on again.
Have you tried banging on the keyboard?
Yeah. Okay. What are we looking at now?
Same thing.
Oh, this is not a great thing going on here.
Interesting.
You should try to drop off and rejoin for real.
Okay. Yeah. I'll try that. I'll be back.
All right. Make me host. I bet that's what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Seth's smarter than all of us.
He is. Seth is the host of all of our videos that we have on our YouTube channel that are the tutorial videos for Curated. So you might find him familiar if you've gone through any of those. We have Ben from the UK, no newsletter yet, hopefully able to dive in after this. Yay, Ben. We'd love to teach you. We're going to have Seth try again. I think, Seth, do you know if the recording?
The recording stopped on my end, and I think it technically failed. So do you want to try and stay host and then just allow me to screen share?
Yes, I'll do that. And let's see if that gets you in a better situation. Woohoo!
Figuring it out. Okay, can you allow me to screen share?
Dude, you got me. I knew it was going to happen at some point today. We had a nice joke about that earlier. Okay, you're good.
Let's try again. Okay.
Woo!
Oh, so we're good?
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay. So starting again.
Our presentation on how to screen share is done.
So my name's Seth. I do some success stuff for Curated. So let's just hop right in since we're starting a little bit late. I'm going to talk about some general tips for getting started with the newsletter, how to launch it quickly, and then we're going to dive into the Curated software and get into depth of how to get started quickly on Curated. So we'll walk through 5 steps on how to quickly launch a newsletter. So first, you'll need a publication name, description, and domain. Second, you'll need to make sure that your emails don't end up in spam by verifying SPF and DKIM. I know this sounds scary and confusing, but it's actually really simple and curated. Third, you'll need a publication page where people can subscribe and, if you'd like, see an example of your newsletter. Fourth, you'll need a well-designed newsletter issue layout. And 5, you need to have content for your newsletter. So let's start by looking at the Newsletter Fest newsletter, which we actually built and curated. Me and Ashley did it in about a day. And this is just a great example of a solid looking newsletter that we've built really quickly. So here's the header up here, and we've just stuck with a few brand colors to make it have a great brand look to it. And so let's hop into how we do that in Curated. So this is a brand new newsletter, aptly titled Newsletter Fest Demo Newsletter. So the first thing that we'll set up is the publication name, description, and domain. So when you first sign up with the Curated account, you'll have fields to enter all that stuff. And if you want to change it before you send out your first issue, that's totally doable and very easy to do. The first thing you'll do is you'll come to the settings up here, which is under this gear icon, and just click on settings. And this is where you will spend a lot of time when setting up your newsletter. So there's a name and description area here that you can go change your publication name if you'd like, and change the description. So if we look at the Newsletter Fest, for example, up here, this is the description of the newsletter. You can change it to be whatever you like. It supports Markdown, so if you want to put a link in there, you can. If you want to make it italics, you can totally do that as well. And these are easily changeable. You just click save and it's automatically changed. If you want to change your URL, which we give you a domain as soon as you sign up for Curated for free. But if you want to change that URL before you send out your first newsletter, then just come under here to the web section.
Hey, wait a second. Am I the only one not seeing you in the software?
Did I get lost?
You got stuck on Newsletter Fest newsletter.
Yeah, you're frozen.
Oh man, really?
Yeah.
I think it's probably because I'm trying to convert the last video.
Oh,
yeah.
Do you want, here's what we'll do. I'll take over the screen share.
Okay, good call.
And you point and tell me to do things. But have you shared that one with me?
The that newsletter?
Yeah.
I'll invite you as a user.
Okay. All right. I'm going to pop this into Google Chrome.
Alrighty.
One of the good things about Curated, just so y'all know, is that you can do this with different users with different permissions for your newsletters. So you don't have to be the only one in there doing everything. You can have
Ashley,
or a team.
You just sent me the invite?
Yep, just send you the invite.
Let me open up my email because that's what it's going to come through. We were going to demo this, but we're not there right now, guys.
Yeah. Sorry about these hiccups, y'all. We've been Zooming all day long.
We have been Zooming all day long. I'm invited to contribute. Get started.
There we go.
Accept the invitation. Okay. So now that I've done that, if I open Curated, I should be able to find that one, right?
The Newsletter Fest Demo newsletter.
There we go.
There it
Okay.
is.
Tell me what to do.
Fantastic. Okay.
This is going to be a test of whether I can follow his instructions really well. Okay.
So head back to the settings. So like I said, settings is where you'll spend a lot of time when you're getting set up, and scroll down to the hosting, subscriptions, and publishing section. That's just probably one scroll down. There you go. And hit the web button there. So this is where you'll be able to change your URL if you would like to change it before you send your first publication. You can see that if you scroll all the way to the bottom there, Ashley. So this is the URL that I set up as I created this new publication. But if you decided to rebrand or you want to do something different, you can easily change it just by changing it, hitting save. If you've already sent out a few publications and you want to change your publication domain, just reach out to support and we'll help you do that, because that requires some more heavy lifting on DNS sides and things like that. If you do have a custom domain, we have a really simple way to set up a custom domain now, especially now that we've launched Let's Encrypt. So it'll be secure basically automatically. It's really easy to get set up. We have a helpful YouTube video on how to do that. So that doesn't really fall in line with quickly launching a newsletter, but it would take maybe 15 more minutes to get set up. So now that we have our publication name, description, and domain, I'll figure it out. We'll want to make sure that our newsletter doesn't end up in spam. So Ashley, if you'd like to go back to the settings page for me.
Okay. I like to do this.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm a breadcrumb girl.
And if you scroll down to go ahead and scroll all the way down to the bottom for me. And oh, I seem to have misplaced it. Yeah, scroll back up a little bit.
It's because I'm doing it. It's like when you're trying to tell your toddler to do something for you.
Head to that email section right there. Yeah, there you go. And here's where you'll find SPF and DKIM configuration. Now, if you don't have anything, if you haven't messed with this, then you should be good to go. Curated will take care of this for you. You won't have to worry about it. But if for some reason you come in here and you accidentally mess something up, then what you can do is actually, if you want to highlight that section in the first colored block right there, where it says from Newsletter Fest. If you want to highlight the section right after via and right after that, right at the end, it's in the parentheses.
Via.
Where it says
this guy.
Yeah. So if you highlight that email address and put that in the reply to, right where Seth@simplefocus.com is, and save it, then that should completely take care of your SPF and DKIM configurations. If you have a Gmail account set up in your reply to, that can be a little sticky, and it doesn't play nice with the SPF and DKIM settings. So if you accidentally messed up, you can easily copy and paste that, and it's completely fixed. If you want to get more into that, we have more help documentation on how to get set up with that, especially if you have a custom domain. And again, that's pretty easy to get set up as well. And basically what that does is helps verify that you are a real person, and that you're not spamming someone's email inbox. So that's great to make sure that your email doesn't end up in spam. Okay, moving right along. Now we'll want to make sure that we have a great looking publication page where people can subscribe and where they can see an example of your most recent newsletter. So Ashley, if you want to show what the publication page looks like right now, which is underneath the settings section, and you can click visit publication site. This is right off the bat. We've done nothing so far to set this up. So you can see it doesn't look super great. It's working. And so if you don't have time to quickly launch the newsletter and you just want to get some people subscribed, this will absolutely do that for you. But if we want to add a little bit of color, if we want to get some brand in there, then that's super easy to do. So if actually want to head back to the settings page, and starting just in this publication block here, we're going to go through each setting here. We've already talked about name and description, so you don't have to worry about that. But let's hit the logo and favicon section next. So the logo is what's going to pop up at the very top of your newsletter. So this will be an interesting thing to get figured out.
Do you need to send me files, or has the video from the last one finished?
The video from the last one has finished.
Do you want to try the take back over?
We can sure try it. Yeah.
Okay.
We can give that a whirl.
All right. I'm going to stop share.
Okay. All right.
We ask Seth to do many things. One of them is 5 things at once.
Okay. Let's try again here. Okay.
Everybody have a
What are we s-
visual?
What are we seeing? Are we seeing it?
I'm seeing you in settings in the users
Mm-hmm.
page.
Great. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So I'll go slow-ish so we don't knock Zoom off or whatever happened last time. So again, head back to the settings and let's start with the logo and favicon section. If we're looking at the Newsletter Fest, for example, this is where the logo looks like. Nice and big, front and center, so everyone knows what they're looking at when they first get there. So I went ahead and made a quick logo for this demo newsletter. It literally took me 5 minutes, and I'm not a designer. I hopped in Canva and made this very quickly. So you can see it's just the name of the newsletter, the curated logo, and 2 nice lines. So we have that there. We upload it, and we can make the logo continue to stay centered, which means wherever people are looking at your newsletter or publication page, that the logo will always stay centered. For the favicon, if you're not familiar with that, that's just basically what shows right here in this tab. So for Newsletter Fest, the favicon is the curated C. We're going to do the exact same thing here. So I'll just select this right here. We'll open it. We have some more detailed documentation on the sizes that are best to upload for things like logos and favicons. So make sure to check that out if you want some more specifics. But for favicons, normally you want something that's about 45 by 45 pixels so that it looks good in this small image up there. And for social share image, this dictates what will be shared when you're sharing your newsletter to a social platform. So say you want to share your newsletter or your most recent issue to Twitter, then this image will dictate what is shared there. So for here, I'll just keep it simple. We'll share the logo. If nothing is selected here, then it will automatically share the logo that you've set up before. So now those 3 things are good to go. We'll save it, and those will be saved to our publication. As you can see, we have little previews of the images, which is nice. And we can go to visit our publication site again. And boom, there's our changes. Now, a logo is all great, but the colors are still a little bit off. So we will go back to our settings and we will edit the header and footer of our publication. So right now, if you're just looking at Newsletter Fest, this is technically the header. When we further build out our publication page, we can have it so that an issue is showing underneath this. But right now, this is just the header. And this is also what it will look like, these colors and this logo at the very top of an email once you send that out for your issue. So let's set the background color just to nicely blend in with that logo. So you can just click here, and there's a color picker that also supports hex colors. So I'm going to copy the color there. We'll paste that there.
We're not seeing where you are, but that might be because it's not in the same window.
Oh, that's true, because it functions as a pop-out. Okay, so I just pasted a color. Did you see the color change in background color?
No, we don't see the settings anymore. We're still seeing the publication site view.
Weird. Okay, hold on. Let me try something. Kid, I just changed to another tab. Did it
No.
You're frozen.
reflect? We're frozen again?
Yeah, this is quite the challenge.
This is. Okay, should I stop again and then should I pull back?
Try stopping and then
Just
resharing.
keep stopping and resharing. And
Alrighty. Yeah.
Everybody wants to see us for just a moment before seeing this.
Okay, so can you see the page I'm on now?
And it's black.
No.
Black again? Man.
Do you want
your boss should get you a better computer.
Yeah, really.
It's okay. So you're in the settings
Mm-hmm.
page. Let me see if I screen share mine again for a little bit. It's going to end your screen share. Yes, that's okay with me. And I'm going here. Guide me and maybe drop into Slack anything you want me to put in there or spell it out.
Yeah.
So I need to be back here.
Mm-hmm. And then head to the header and footer section.
Header and footer. Okay.
So I think the best thing that we can do here is actually, I will drop a link to you in the demo test that I did, which has a completed version of the publication page that I'm trying to build here. So we can just hop back and forth between what you would do to build it and then what it looks like in the end. Almost like a cooking show, you know, where they're like, cook this for an hour, but then they reach in the oven and it's already completely cooked.
I like the
I
like that.
There. Okay. I'm dropping this in Slack for you.
Okay. I'm working across 2 monitors, so this is going to be cute. All right. And boom. That's what happens when he puts that color in.
Yep.
There.
Right. Exactly.
Okay.
So that's what the color will look like there. And then if you want to go back to the settings page for me. And head back to the header and footer page. There's some more stuff that we need to look into there. So I went ahead to change the text color to black so that it'll be legible on that light tan color. For additional footer text, that'll be at the bottom of the page that we were just looking at. And when you send out your issue, it'll be at the bottom of each issue. So you can add an additional link, for example. So actually what I did was I just did, newsletterfest.com.
Do I need the HTTP or no?
It'll be newsletterfest.com should work. And it's markdown. So if you want to do the markdown things on it or not, whatever works best for you.
Talking like this?
Yeah, there you go. So it'll be brackets and parentheses. And then when that is saved, if you look at the footer, it'll blend in with the other footer text that we have that are required by us, such as, copyright, things like that. So if she goes back to the example page, which
I'm going to this one because it's the one I'm changing, right?
Okay, there you go. Yeah. You can see at the bottom, the newsletter, right beside privacy policy. That's a little bit above where you're looking at.
Yeah.
There it is. And then boom, that takes us to the Newsletter Fest website.
And that would be on this one.
And that's on that one as well.
There it is.
A few last things to cover about the footer is you can also add links to your social platforms. So say, you wanted to add some links to your, like if we were adding it to Curated's Twitter, then that would work. And you can also add an RSS button if people wanted to add your newsletter to their RSS feed. So that is done. Header and footer is good to go. And those are examples of the social links there. And if you head back to the settings, then
settings is where you live, people.
Yeah. We call this the settings soup. It's just it's the best soup you can imagine because it's everything that you want to do on one handy page. For our
bean.
Yeah. For our fonts, we have fonts that you can choose from here. I think we have a nice selection, but if there is something specific that you would like to use on your newsletter, just send us a message at support and we'll do our best to get that in there. I think it might be that we work best if it's a Google font, but I know Caitlin is in the chat and she might be able to clarify that for me. So
just a heads up, Caitlin and JD, because I'm doing the screen share, I cannot see the chat stuff or the Q&A. So if we have people asking questions, please either respond or make sure to interrupt us. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm keeping an eye on. I'll be able to see if Q&A comes up.
You can see.
Yes, I should.
I'm working in the blind.
But for chat, I'm not active in chat right now. So that's great. Caitlin is killing the game in chat.
So we keeping these fonts?
Yeah. So we'll just keep those fonts because I think that's a good look. And you have a nice preview there. So you can test and see what you like, test to see what you don't like. Mm-hmm. So
you can see it here. And then you can also go and look at, everything here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whatever.
So many options. Yeah. So if we head back to our settings soup, the date format is pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory. That controls the when you're working in the internal. So this is the side that you'll be working in. And also, if you choose to include the issue date at the top of your newsletter, that's where that will be. So, if you want it to be day, month, year, then it'll be reflected internally and also at the top of your newsletter. And if you'd like to use cardinal numbers for issue dates, you can choose that. So that'll change it from being first, second, third to 1, 2, 3 if you want your issues to be numbered. So just a little bit more of customization if you want it.
Okay.
Never a bad thing. So let's head back to our settings and we'll just continue right on. Issue title format. That is a helpful little tool that if you would like to change the template of what your next issue will be. So the default is issue and then whatever issue number you're on. So for us, it would be issue number 1. But if we wanted to change it to be something like new issue, and then every time you created a new issue, the title would be new issue, then that just helps you a little bit, takes out some work for building your next issue along the way. Super simple, pretty easy. We can hop back to the settings page and hit the next one, which is scheduling. So scheduling seems like, okay, yeah, just schedule, whatever. It's actually, a lot of people get this confused in the curated system. It's really important to know that when you schedule an issue to go out, that is purely for Curated to help you stay up to date on how far out your newsletter is. Curated will never send an issue out without you directly telling it, hey, send this issue out. So right now we have it for scheduling frequency every 7 days. You can set it to, twice a month. You can set it to whatever works best for you. And internally, the system will remind you, whether it be through notifications that you have turned on or when you're building out your draft issue, that, hey, this issue is due in 5 days, this issue is due in 3 days, whatever, just to keep you up to date with the calendar.
Great little tool for a team if you've got a couple of people working on your newsletter, because they will be getting updates that remind them that this issue is due. But again, this is not that dangerous thing you can do in some systems where you say, I know I want it to go out on this date, but that actually schedules it for that date, whether you're finished with it or not. So just to reiterate, this does not mean that it goes out on that date, but it does mean that when you are setting up new issues and you go and create new, that it uses this cadence as you start creating issue 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It goes ahead and paces them out that far apart. So if you got some news that you knew was going to go in issue 7, it would already be built and waiting for you to drop that in, even though you are only on issue 3.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you happen to miss the published day that you're looking for, then Curated will just remind you with, hey, this issue was due last week. It can turn into some pretty comical things with, if you haven't touched your newsletter in a while, it might say this issue is due a year ago. But at any point, you can come in and change your publishing frequency super easily. And that, like Ashley said, that will update the rest of your issues going forward.
Yay. All right.
So we can,
soup.
There you go. And for postal address language, those are postal address is something
Super
that you
easy.
need. If you were listening to Dan Oshinsky's, you might just choose your favorite Chinese restaurant down the road.
But that was can spam, like a violation. So
we are technically
use
not
an address.
Yeah.
Use an actual address that is yours.
For language, we have a few different languages in. If there's a language that we don't have yet that you'll like to be in Curated, feel free to reach out to support, and we would love your help with translating some items. This is great for your publication website and emails. There's a few items on your publication page, such as your archives and search and things like that. That if you change the language here, will be reflected on your publication page, will be automatically translated. And thank you to all the Curated users who have helped us translate the Curated into multiple different languages. Because
we went from 1 to whatever that number is in a matter of 3 weeks. It's
fantastic.
Amazing.
People are awesome. For the subscription form, this is how you edit the subscription form. It's on the publication page that you've already seen a few times since we've showcased that. So you'll be able to.
Use the prettier one.
Yeah, there you go. So as you can see, I changed the subscription form color to match the curated orange. We'll just keep that one as an example. You don't have to try and guess it.
But when you change that color, this happens.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense, people?
And then, yeah.
Well, this. Okay.
And you can change the description. That's the little text underneath your subscribe form in case you want to add a little personal flavor to it. And you can also add additional permissions if you'd like. So if you'd like to opt them into an additional newsletter or anything like that, that is an option that you have. And that's just a checkbox that you can click on and on. There's a few different people that use it for a few different reasons. I know that Wade from Apps Weekly, he uses his different permissions just as two checkboxes. One says, I use iOS, and the other one says, I use Android. So that's just good for him to be able to understand what his audience is using. So he knows his audience a little bit better. And yeah, you can change the subscribe button text if you'd like, all that good stuff. Next. Covered everything there. Yeah, head back to the settings. Mm-hmm. Slight shout out to the affiliate program. Super easy to get set up, probably about a 15-minute process if you want to hop in there. And then whenever people click the curated logo at the bottom of your issue, then they'll be taken to Curated with your referral ID, and you can make money off of pushing people to Curated. So if you like Curated, then you should earn money for it. So super easy to get set up.
30% recurring revenue. Mm-hmm. That's the big phrase we need to use there.
Yeah. Lots of money. So we have another super helpful YouTube video on that that will get you set up in literally less than 15 minutes.
Closed out. Give me a sec. Yeah, that's not where I want to go. I want to go there. All right. Settings.
Yeah, head back to the settings.
What's next, Seth?
Okay, so we've gotten through the publication settings. So the next thing that we're going to do is look at the issue content. So the first one we're going to look at is the look and feel. So this is building out the actual look of an issue that you have in Curated. So we have a few different header styles here. The default that we have selected right now is icon and title horizontal, which is a great looking one. I have a few different websites we can visit to look at some examples of some curated newsletters that are doing great with those. What this settings page does is it basically sets the default template of your issue. So that means that whenever you create a new category, which we'll do in a second, it will look just like that. So yeah, that's fantastic. I was just about to show that. This is an example of the icon and lozenge horizontal look. So this is a great thing that a few of our users do, which they have, and this is, as Ashley is highlighting, is the lozenge only, which you can customize the color of, and she separates it by whatever section it is and shows off the, to differentiate a little bit and add a little pop of color to her publication. Right here, we have iOS Dev Weekly. He does something similar. Where he has the lozenge set up and it's different colors to show off the different categories. I believe what he does, he might not have it in this one, but I believe for his sponsorships, he actually changes the background color of the category to make it stand out just a little bit. Digestive system. Check out the check out frontendweekly.co. They're one that I know definitely does that. So if you scroll down some, you can see there's the sponsor, and they've changed the background to be a completely different color, so it stands out a little bit, which again just adds a little bit of differentiation to your newsletter and makes that sponsor stand out a little bit as well. So like I said, this look and feel page, this basically sets the template for your categories, but you can override on a per category basis by going back to your settings and opening the categories page right there. So what I initially had planned for this newsletter was creating a few different categories. The first one we'll create, we'll call it, let's title it Introduction. And we'll kind of model it after something that like I know Wade does, that Ashley does. Let's name the next few just category 1, 2, and 3. You can make it shorter if you'd like. And then the last one I named just a sign off, basically. So while Ashley's getting that set up for our introduction, we're going to set it up in a way that I think is a great thing to do to create some intimacy between you and your subscribers is setting up a profile picture next to your introduction so that the first thing that people see when they're looking at your issue is a great smiling picture of you. And what Ashley just did there is she deleted the default category that we put with every newsletter publication that's just called news. You can delete it if you'd like. You can also archive categories, and the archive tool is helpful for if, 5 issues down the line, you decide, I don't like this category anymore. I'm probably not going to use it anymore. You can archive it. And then when you're importing issues, it won't be something you can select from. So let's set up the introduction by setting it to the icon and lozenge header style.
Can y'all see that pop up? Me choosing that? Okay.
I can see it. And then Ashley, if you have a picture of yourself that you would be able to
put the Girl Scout logo.
Oh, fantastic.
That's what we got. People.
Yeah.
Deal.
And then she can change the icon width if she'd like. Actually, go ahead and put in 65 for the icon width. That's a good number that keeps it, smaller so it doesn't take up the page. And you want to be careful with the images you're uploading to. If it's a weirdly ratioed image, then it could show up a little funky. So 65, anywhere under 100, I would say is a good width to go with. You can change the lozenge color if you'd like, which showed off on Ashley's page, and you can change those colors as well. So you can go ahead and save that.
We're leaving them all the default colors.
Yeah, we'll just leave it default for right now because we are quickly launching this newsletter.
We're going to this one.
So you'll actually
we can't see it there.
You'll need to so you'll need to actually collect a link first. So yeah, I've already got some links collected just for handiness. So if you want to go to issue 1, and you can import all of these issues. Right now, they're all unassigned. So you'll want to assign them to some different categories. If you're interested in collecting issues, collecting links for your issues, then be sure to check out our How to Collect Links Like a Pro session that's coming up on Thursday night, I believe. So Ashley's put these links in a few different categories so that when we go to preview this issue, that it'll show up. So she just clicked web preview, and here we go. Here is category 1.
I need something in introduction.
Gotcha.
For it to show up. Hold on.
So she'll just go add a quick, she'll just edit this unassigned one. There'll always be one unassigned link that's just a text item for each new issue you create. And she's just doing an example there, and she can go back to her test and just refresh the page. Actually, she doesn't even have to go back through the web preview or anything like that. So there you go. And there's the icon that she uploaded for the introduction category as well. And that blank space right there is where the title would go. She just decided to opt out of the title and include the stuff there. And that's how to set up categories. A really quick overview of that. You can hop into the categories and experiment with that. Try out a few different looks of that. Ashley, if you want, I think we're doing okay on time. If we want to show maybe one more example of like what the icon and title vertical looks like, because I think that's a pretty nifty look. So if you would want to go to IoT Weekly News.
There you go. There's a question.
Yes, I did see that.
In the Q&A that maybe you or Caitlin.
That's a great question that I think would be greatly suited for Caitlin. Caitlin, the question is there a way to add alt tags to images so screen readers can identify pictures? Deb, keep a lookout for that answer in chat, or if, actually, I'm not sure if you would want to bring Caitlin on, if she could answer that, or if Caitlin just
I'm the
wants
host
to,
again.
yeah, or if Caitlin just wants to answer in chat.
I've lost my
Caitlin said she'll answer in chat. So
okay.
Okay, Deb, keep an eye out in chat for Caitlin to answer that question. That's a great question, though. Something that's definitely very important.
I feel like magical right now because I just figured out how to do stuff while I screen share. So everyone, this experience has forced me to realize that I just need to go to the top of the screen and zoom, and then things will happen. All right, so this is the vertical look. You can play around and do a lot of different interesting things. We have some users who don't include a picture at all. That's great, but there are some interesting ways. And see, this is a non-lozenge. They don't use the lozenge. They use an icon and a title for all of their categories. So there's a lot of ways to get creative in there.
Yeah, and I love the setup they have there. I think it's very cool. And if you would like a more streamlined newsletter, something that isn't so divided up by categories, you can hide your category titles as well. We require the reason we need categories is Curated is built on those categories, so you can assign different links to those categories. But if you want something to just be a solid read through without any breakups, then you can make those categories hidden, and then it'll just read as one large thing. We have a few users who do that as well.
Is there a way to do that right here?
Yeah, you would go to header style.
Okay.
And then it would just be hidden, the first one right there.
That's it.
Yep.
I've done that with my little note at the bottom of my newsletter that says like this newsletter, because I don't want it to feel like it's just my prompt for people to share it, but I don't want it to feel like a new official category. So I named it signature, but signature does not appear there.
Right. And that could be a great use case for the SIA. That actually the sign off basically.
Are you saying you don't want it to say see ya?
Because if you wanted it to not be shown, because say your readers, whenever they see the sign off or see or whatever, just tune out. If you don't want it to be a more streamlined read through, then that would be a great use case for just hiding that category. But then still on your back end, having it categorized so you can more easily build it.
You can also get data on which categories get the most clicks. We're talking about that also later this week. I think that's tomorrow. But one quick thing, you can change the order of your categories here. When you do that, it changes the order of everything you've previously published, not in the email, that's already been sent, but on the publication site. So just know that when you start making changes here, because you realize that category 3 is much more relevant to your audience than category 1, and now you want your archives to prioritize that content, that when you do that, it will make that change universal to your entire publication site, and category 3 will now feel like the first important category.
Yeah, that's super helpful. And yeah, definitely check out the session that is tomorrow on how to build categories and how to optimize those categories as well. So next thing, great, you're on the settings page already, read my mind. So if you want to go to the subscription messages, that's right there next to the email section, the email link.
Okay, here we are.
Yeah. So this is
where I'm looking beyond the monitor that I'm looking at. So thank y'all for bearing with me.
So here's Ashley, do you want to speak a little bit to the welcome message? You're pretty versed in doing good converting for welcome messages.
All right. So what we think you should do here is customize it, because we do have something that appears there if you don't, but people want to hear from you. So what you need to do is give them a reason to respond. Now they will get, when they subscribe, if they do, like, I think it's for the double opt-in, it could be for every opt-in. You can choose if it's double or not. They will get something after they subscribe on their screen, like, great, go check your email. And then they come in and they confirm, and then that appears. They will get a message that tells them how to make you VIP, or whatever the different clients' terms are for not spam, right? They will get instructions there, but it couldn't hurt if you wanted to go ahead and tell them things here. But the most important thing in a welcome message is to prompt them in some way to respond to you, because email clients like that they like got an email from you, they responded, like they have proven that they are engaging with this sender. So that's our like advice to you. And then you can preview that by sending it to yourself, so you can get a look at your own welcome message as a preview email.
Yeah, absolutely. And if this was something that you want to work on, but you just wanted to wait a little bit until you had the headspace to write a really great welcome message, then like Ashley said, we do have a default message that reads something along the lines of, thanks for subscribing. The first issue will be with you soon. Or if you already have some issues created, then I believe it will read, thanks for subscribing. The next issue will be with you soon. Check out the archives for some of the stuff that your publication has done in the past. So still a good welcome message, but we definitely recommend adding something personal so that your subscriber feels a more personal connection with your newsletter. And definitely asking them to reply to that email, and then taking that time when they reply to the subscription email to reply to that reply. That was worded really backwards, but replying to them, it lets them know, oh wow, they're actually paying attention to this stuff and they actually care about my subscription.
You also might, like, depending on your cadence, you might want to include some of the most popular links from previous issues, or some links to work that you've done, just to feed that of the moment desire to subscribe to what you're doing, because that will solidify their impression of you before they even get the next issue.
Yep. Very well said. So the last step that we have, step number 5, is the content that you need for your newsletter. And as I said a little bit earlier, we have a session on Thursday on how to collect links like a pro. But for right now, we're going to give you a overview of collecting links using our Chrome extension. So Ashley, I'm going to drop a link to your Slack again, if that works with you.
Yes. I'm like, you've got this planned out. Me, I'm like, maybe we should go shoe shopping or something.
So I just dropped a link to Ashley on one of our YouTube videos, which is how to collect the links and add them to an issue in Curated.
Oh, he's coming right at me.
And so
he's scary.
Yeah, we get tons of ads for this guy. But if Ashley goes up to the Curated Chrome extension there, she'll have the ability to add it to a newsletter. Yeah, she would need to
update this there.
Do
you want to walk me through that?
Sure, yeah. So go to your settings, the settings of any of your newsletters, actually.
Okay. It's the API, right?
Yep. So you'll scroll down to the API key here and click on the, oh, I'm sorry. I did it wrong. Go to right click on your Chrome extension for Curated. Make sure it's, yeah, there you go. Hit options. And then you'll refresh publications. Okay. That's just telling the Chrome extension that you have more publications. And then if you go ahead and close it out.
I think I have to.
Yeah, go ahead and if you just want to exit out that page
and then X out. Oh, and you know what's going to happen?
It's going to pop up on the other screen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It just did it.
Yeah. So what happens with the Chrome extension is like Ashley has a full screen open right now, it'll actually pop open another page when you collect it. Huh. That's strange.
Maybe I did it out of order.
So what happened with Ashley was that go ahead and exit out of the YouTube video and then open it up again.
Okay. This is fun. It's like a good comedy of errors.
You're
I
right,
have to
yeah.
open Slack on one monitor and then go to it on the other, and then come watch Webflow commercials, and then attempt. No, we messed it up in some kind of way.
Yeah, we've
I'm going to toss it back to you if you're ready with that link.
Yeah,
because surely your computer is better by now.
Surely it is. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and share my screen here. Okay, let me get one thing.
Because the Chrome extension is cool.
It's fantastic. The Chrome extension, definitely a cool thing. Okay, so let's go ahead and share this. All right, are you seeing my screen?
We see your screen.
Fantastic. Okay, so I'm going to widen my window a little bit. Awesome. I'm going to open the link.
If your screen is demo.test.curated.co, we see it.
Yep, that's
okay.
Yep.
We see your desktop in the background. Okay. Just making sure. I figured last time we were like, sure, we do. And then it all went crazy. So
okay, I'm opening a new tab. Do you see the new tab?
No.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Hey, Caitlin. Never mind.
If we want, we can just hop to the next thing.
Nope. You know what we can do is share the YouTube video.
Yeah, absolutely.
That you had me going to. It's
Yeah.
going to demo what we were going to do.
Yeah,
this is going to be funny. Okay.
You want me to drop it in there?
I just want to make sure it does with audio.
Oh, you're going to screen share. Ah, I see.
See,
okay.
I'm getting tricky. Yeah. I'm getting super tricky.
Uh-huh.
But y'all, we have this set of videos. So if you can see this.
Yeah, I can see it.
I'm going to let you narrate since it's muted.
Sure, yeah. So so this goes through the different ways that you can collect links with Curated. The first one that I'm going to show off in this video is the Curated Chrome extension. So I hover over the Chrome extension, I choose what publication I want to save it with, and it saves the title and URL. Now, this is a little bit of an older video, but we have an awesome new feature that pulls in the metadata and the image. If you want to go pause the video real quick, because I'll move on pretty quickly in the video, but I'll take the time to. Yeah. So what's super exciting is we now pull in the metadata from whatever you're collecting and put it in the body for you. And then we pull in the image from whatever you're collecting too. So if we were saving that YouTube video, it would have been the thumbnail of the YouTube video would have automatically been grabbed by the Curated Chrome extension and put in the image for this link. And then the metadata is normally the preview text if you search for Google from the article or from the video. And that's really helpful if you happen to save a link one day and then a few days from now you're working on your newsletter and you're looking at a link like, why did I save this? What is this about? Then reading that little snippet will be like, oh, okay, now I remember what this is. I'm going to write my own thoughts. Super helpful. The Chrome extension does this and the bookmarklet does this as well, which is just as easy to get installed as the Chrome extension is. So regardless of what browser you're using, as long as you have the bookmarklet installed, you should be able to bring in that metadata and the image as well.
All right, we ready?
Yeah, ready to go.
So he categorized it. An image would have shown up here and he could choose if he wanted to keep it. He's using an old way to kind of just pop an image in there. Now I'm excited that you get to update all of the videos.
I know, yeah.
Chrome extension in them. This is within the software. Do you want to explain that?
So this just pulls open a module where you can add the title, URL, the body, and the category just by yourself. So say you happen to have a link that you saved somewhere else, you could easily copy that link, put it in as its own thing, and that wouldn't require any use of a Chrome extension or anything like that. and just in case you wanted to build something in the Curated app itself.
Okay. All right. And then this one was emailing, right?
This is the secret email, which every account that you have, every publication has its own secret email. So what you would do is you would go in settings. We can highlight that after this, and you would save that secret email in your address book for whatever email address or for whatever email provider you're using as maybe the name of your publication. And then you would include the link of the article that you want to save in that email. And so whenever you send that to that email address, it will be saved in the hopper, as some call it, in Curated, which is over to the left where it says items to. You can see that that Los Angeles Times article was saved because we emailed it in. So that's a nice little helpful way. Say if you're collecting links via mobile, you can copy that link, email it to that secret email address, and it'll be saved there. We also have a iOS shortcut that allows you to save articles from your iOS device. That one is a little bit trickier, so we won't go into depth a lot today. We do have a support doc that walks through how to set it up. So if you've used shortcuts before on iOS, then that's a super easy thing for you to set up. iOS is a little bit weird with shortcuts in general, because if you haven't used shortcuts before, it doesn't want you to use shortcuts that it doesn't provide itself. So that's a little finicky. But if you're in the shortcuts game, then that iOS shortcut is super handy. So check out the support doc for that, and possibly keep an eye out for a video about it in the future.
So here is where he was talking about, we have a top nav, right? We've been working in settings a lot, but the top nav is collected items, issues, sponsorship, subscribers, statistics. Collected items is where I am right now. And we have some help content right here that tells you how to install the Chrome browser, the bookmarklets, which you just drag up, and then additionally provides you with the secret email address associated with your account, as well as some instructions about collecting links via Slack or setting up some integrations with Zapier. Did I cover everything that you thought we might need to do?
Yeah, that was
okay.
Yeah, that was great. And yeah, Wade just said that he didn't know about the iOS shortcut, and he just dropped the support doc in there. Thanks so much, Wade. Yeah, this is something for someone like Wade, fantastic use case.
Yay! Maybe it should be in Apps Weekly.
There you go.
Did you know? We have moments where we find out things that Dave Verwer built into Curated that we didn't realize were there, that we think are genius, and go, wow, why didn't we know?
that was a Caitlin build right there. That I think she built it
the
right
iOS
before.
Yeah, the iOS shortcut was her. It was I didn't know that if you had text highlighted when you use the Chrome extension, that highlighted text would then appear in the body copy. So if I am correct, and Caitlin can say yes, then when you highlight text on a web page, so if I did this and I went to collect this, then this text would override the meta and be in the body section for me. So where we are, I think, is that we have text. Gosh, I have so many open that I don't even remember which one I'm like using to demo. Surely this is it. Okay. So you wanted to show how to put a link in an issue. So they were right here. I imported them all earlier, but you can one by one go and add links. So the easiest way to show you guys this is actually to just hop over to Opt-in Weekly, and excuse me, like my upcoming issue is missing things. That's my current issue.
Yeah.
Next issue. So I have 71 items here, and I can scroll through and I can choose which ones as I build out my newsletter Wednesday. If I do one this week, we got to see how exhausted I am. But as I do that, it appears over here. It appears in its assigned category or as unassigned. So if I find one that is categorized, Apparently I'm doing a lot of no category saving. This one's marketing. Then it appears in that marketing category. And then if I have multiples in that category, I can move them and change their order. And if I really think it's in the wrong category, I don't necessarily have to open this. I can just slide it. So I guess when I was demoing assigning them to categories earlier, that wasn't quite the quickest way, because I could just say, hey, this belongs in this category. Mm-hmm. And it would go. So I just taught myself a new trick as well. But once you've got them in their categories and you have gone in and edited the text, you can preview the issue. Mm-hmm. And then you can schedule the issue. Was that, I'm like taking over. Take it away.
No, you're good. This is a perfect opportunity to answer a question that just came in from Deb. She asks, is it possible to include original content in the newsletter that is not already published to the web, or would I have to publish the content to the web first and then pull a link into the newsletter? Yes, you can absolutely include original content, and Ashley's going to show you how.
So you've got choices up here. Say you wanted to add a link while you're building the issue. That's what was in that demo video. You do it right here. But say you want your entire newsletter to be just text. Maybe you have some words in there that are linked, but you don't want your headlines of each section to be linked. You just use a text item, and it works almost exactly the same way. You would give it a category. You would give your content a title and content, and then add an image. This I kind of keep do not attribute, but you can certainly, if you're working with a team, keep that in there. Save it, and then it is a text block in your issue. So if I go to preview issue, I see this text block that I came up with, which could take up the entire newsletter, or could be multiple sections of just text. So while Curated is built to support collecting links, it is also built to support text-only emails that are not a list of links. And one interesting thing I think we should build a use case for is using it to collect links for an issue that you are not actually using those links in, right? So you would be collecting them because they inspire you. As a journalist, I used to do this all the time. I'm going to put this link in my Word doc and this link in my Google Doc and whatever. And you'd have a stack of links, and like maybe you copied from those articles, but you're writing an article that is a synopsis of, or that is the research for, then that could all be imported into your newsletter and then used to create your text-ish item, like your actual copy. And then you would delete or destroy, which I love that Curated uses the word destroy, because you're not, like when you click on the trash can, it's like, do you really want to see this gone forever? And then you have the option to do it for sure, just in case you accidentally clicked it. We'll act like I accidentally clicked it. Does that answer Deb's question?
Yeah, I believe so. And that those text items are formatted the exact same way that a link item would be. So if you want it to be colored text, it can be that by going into categories, all that stuff. The text items function the exact same way as the link item does. It just doesn't have a link. So
categories are the backbone. Links and text items are the content sections that you are bringing in. And you could have one long one, you could have 15 tiny ones, you could have no images, you could have all images, and just like a little copy.
Yeah. And the last thing I have to cover before we close this one out, unless there's more Q&As, which I see some coming in, which are great, is how to schedule an issue to go out to make sure that it is for sure going out. So there's two ways you can do this. One is by hitting the schedule issue button that Ashley is showing right here. The Curated system will tell you if there's anything that it notices might be a little bit weird, like there's no issue summary that's added to this one. So she clicks that fix button and it would take you to how to fix it. For actually scheduling it to go out, you would set the schedule date and time, which will be default as to what you've set it in that scheduling settings page. So whatever Ashley set it to, that's where it's grabbing that date from. And then you'll have the option to schedule issue or publish issue immediately. Once she hits that schedule issue button, it will take you to a different looking page. So Ashley, if you want to go to one of the other newsletters, yeah. So I just like to tell people that there's a specific page that you want to look at, that you want to make sure you're on, and that's how you'll know that your issue is going to go out.
Here's where I need to be, I bet. Maybe.
No.
Oh. I created a beast when I started doing that API stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go to newsletter plus demo newsletter. And
to the draft issue
and schedule it.
Yeah.
And this one has that postal address problem because I didn't add it. So what were you wanting me to demo?
I was just going to show the page when it's actually scheduled to go out, but that's okay. We don't have to worry about that since that would be a little bit much. There's the second way to schedule it to go out as well, which is just a button towards the top, which is just that hyperlinked schedule or publish it immediately, which will take you to the same flow as before. So whichever one that you would prefer to do. But just know that just because it's scheduled for a date, you have to click that final schedule now or publish it immediately before it will go out.
Okay. And then last thing before we start the Q&A is this ability to edit. This issue title is your subject line. Issue summary is your preview text. So you want to have those in before you start sending tests, which are done via preview issue. And you just send it to your email or to the people you want to send it to so that people can review, read it, and tell you what you did wrong.
Yeah. And Wade has a fun tip that I'll share with everyone here, is that you can attach images, or I'm sorry, you can attach GIFs as images for the links or text items as well. He thinks they're a fun touch to the newsletter, and that Giphy or Jiffy, however you want to pronounce it, .com is a great place to grab them and upload them. I also agree it's fantastic if you're subscribed to the Newsletter Fest newsletter. The issue before last that Ashley sent out had a really fun GIF attached to the top of it. The one thing you want to keep an eye on is the file size, but Curated will let you know if you're trying to upload something that's too large of a file, it'll just not let you upload it. So as long as you have a GIF that's within the acceptable file size, then you're good to go. And that's definitely a fun way to liven up your newsletter.
All right, so we have one last question in there, and that is, can you make more than one newsletter per account? Say if you wanted to segment your list and customize content for each portion of the list. So the answer to that is yes, you can have multiple newsletters within your account, but the way Curated is set up right now, you would want one segment subscribed to one newsletter and one segment subscribed to another. We are not a marketing automation like ESP platform right now. We were built for newsletters. Eventually, we might be adding some things like that, but you can't take your full list and extract a certain number of people out and send them one version of that, that newsletter. So, but what you can do is if you have 15 newsletters and they all have different subscribers, that can all be under one Curated account, and you can add different users to each of those newsletters with different credentials so that they might not see what's going on with the other newsletters. And that we will be talking about when we talk about the agency model, but you have the ability to add unlimited users to like also be collecting links to your account or for clients to come in and see. And the way you pay for that account is that the pricing is based on the list's total. Did I say that well enough for people to hear me? That's the plural, the total of all your lists. Does that resonate? Okay. So it's a newsletter first tool, not a marketing automation tool.
Yeah, absolutely. Very well said. Yeah, I think that does a great job to answer that question. If there's any more, make sure to drop them in the Q&A. I've been scanning the chat. I haven't seen anything else come up. Flavian's got something. Is there an ETA on new and improved embed code with styling options for email signups? Thanks. Flavian, we just launched a new embed code. Actually, I think it was last week is when we just launched it. An embed subscription form. And I believe I'm saying the right thing. If I'm not, then Caitlin, just tell me to close my mouth. I believe I'm responding in the right way, I should say. But so, okay.
I'll try to go preview it for them.
Yeah, absolutely. So
it's in settings and then
at the very bottom.
The very bottom. Oh, and there's a video for this, Flavia. It's subscription form, correct?
Yep, that's it.
Okay, and so then you can manipulate this guy to get it to look like whatever you want it to look like, and then use the iframe code to go pop it in your site. So it's improved.
Yeah, and we're in the stages of collecting feedback for some minor improvements. This will definitely work for you. But if you run into anything that you notice could be improved just slightly, just reach out to support, let us know. We're actively putting out slight updates and slight improvements to it in the coming days and weeks. But yeah, this is good to go. Flavian, I know that we've talked before about your situation, and this should solve your problem for sure. So if you want some more clarification on that, or just some more walkthrough, just let us know in support, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible.
I just realized that we went live on YouTube and we showed a YouTube video.
Whoa.
Like we played it was very meta.
That's crazy.
All right. Any more questions from the crowd? Thank you all so much for, hey, we gave Seth quite the challenge. We started at 11, it's 6:15. If you're done, we're done. Does Curated support a way to have a second template newsletter format? For example, I may want to have a text-based case study once a month.
So like Ashley was saying, you can set up multiple publications, and then you could just create another publication and have it all be text-based. So every item in there could be a new text item. And if you wanted to, if you just want it to be completely text-based, then you could go and hide those categories like we just showed a few minutes ago. And then that would just be a very streamlined, straight read through that I think would work out great for a text-based case study if you just wanted to send that out and have it be more, very getting down to brass tacks.
I think it's interesting, Right Society. They are one of our newsletters that does not have categories. Like they just have one category. Like you have to have at least one, but they put all of their content in that, and it is links, so that doesn't fit the scenario, but it looks to me like what that might look like, because it is text heavy, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So you could just add one category, hide the title of the category, and just add multiple different text items to that.
All right, people are dropping off.
Yeah.
I think they're done.
All righty. Well,
think we're done. Yeah. Hey, thanks everybody. I'm going to say goodbye for the third time. It's a charm.
Thanks so much, y'all.
Bye, everyone.